Hey everybody, I'm Dan. Welcome back. Let's get right to it. Today we want to talk about 5 mistakes that you can make when buying new windows for your home. We're talking about impact or non-impact windows, let's say in a hurricane area. It could be on the Texas coast, up the Carolina coast, or here in the state of Florida where we live. I'm going to punch up an article by the Window Guys, which is a company down in southeast Florida. They periodically come out with some great information. They've got an article that was written on January 28th, and it was called Windborne Debris Zone Map Guide, Palm Beach County and Broward County. So what I want to do is I'm going to zip down to page 11. I do a lot of research on this hurricane stuff, and this really caught my eye, so I wanted to share this. All right, so let's start out with the first mistake that you can make that can cost you a lot of time, a lot of hassle, and a lot of money. If you buy your products first and then check the approvals, if you see a deal on a window product and you say, hey, these things are $500-600 a piece, I would say run away. Do not pay $500 or $600 for an impact window in the state of Florida or anywhere. Actually, if you're not paying over $1,000 a window, you're probably getting junk. But if you find something, or you find something on Facebook Marketplace, or you get some deal somewhere, if it turns out you get these windows and then you go through the permitting process to get these things installed and find out that they don't match your window openings, your door openings, they don't meet the specifications of your county, they're not rated high enough, that could really be an expensive problem. So you really want to watch out for that. I've got a related story I shared in another video. We had a gentleman who was super cheap in the community where we used to live. We bought our first home in Florida in 2012. It had non-impact windows, and we spent about $1,100 a piece outfitting that home with windows. And they were insulated, they were impact windows, they were wonderful windows, and they work well to this day. We've since had a new home built, and we moved into it in 2023, and that's got impact windows rated for a high velocity hurricane zone. But the point is, they cost some bucks. This guy found some windows that were about half the price, and he paid half of what most people would pay for installing windows in the community. He was in his 80s. He was real proud of it. But then once the contractor left, there were some problems with the windows. This guy tried to call the contractor. The contractor wouldn't call back, so he had to live with those problems. The windows did not open and close easily. They were very difficult to work with. It literally took 3 people to take the screens out and put the screens back in these windows. And this guy had the windows. He saved a bunch of money, but bought himself a bunch of hassle. So again, as they say here in this article, check your approvals, check on your quality before you buy products first. I've just adapted it to the situation we've been in. Try not to go for the lowest bidder. Sometimes you get what you get. You get what you get when you spend money on impact window and hurricane window products. We want you to think through, and don't be afraid to spend a little extra money, because it'll pay dividends down the road for many, many years. Mistake number 2, not thinking about the upstairs when factoring your windows and your styles and your specifications. Elevation matters when it comes to hurricane winds. And in debris testing, there are large missile tests that are usually done at ground level. And a large missile test consists of taking a 9-foot 2x4, shooting it through a compressed air tube at about 50 feet per second, which kind of replicating almost a Cat 3 hurricane. And if you hit the window or the sliding door, you can break the glass on an impact product, but it shouldn't shatter, it shouldn't open, because you're going to have, on an impact product, you'll have 2 layers of either laminated or tempered glass sandwiched with a poly layer, a polyvinyl, or some other kind of layer designed to keep the pressures from getting into the house, keeping missiles from breaching the glass. You can buy a window that's appropriately rated for your first floor. You go to the second floor, it might be possible, depending on where you live, that the wind ratings are high enough on your second or third story that you would need a different kind of window product. Maybe it would look exactly the same, but you would have to get something built to a stronger rating. So don't go buying 26 windows for your house only to find out that the top 15, you're going to have to buy something else because you don't have the right product for the right rating. So watch out for that, because elevation changes, wind speeds change the higher up you go, and it can make a difference on a second or third story home. Mistake number 3, ignoring interior pressure and envelope integrity. So if you buy junk products and you're buying an impact product, but it's not rated properly for pressure, and it blows in. Whenever you get a positive pressure breach, when a window blows in, that's a positive pressure breach. When the window gets sucked out of an opening by a hurricane's winds, that's a negative pressure breach. So windows that are designed for impact are normally also designed for pressure, and they have a good pressure rating. It resists the positive forces trying to push the window in, and resists the forces trying to suck the window out of the opening. And if they're not designed right, and you have a window or two blow in, your house can blow up like a balloon. Your walls can start to bow out, and generally that's when your roof can get lifted right off the building. So you make sure, please, that you do your research, check into this stuff, and make sure you get products that meet the codes and that are exactly what you're looking for. And one of the biggest things being pressure protection, because pressure is what blows houses apart in hurricanes. It's not just the winds, it's the way the winds react with the building structure. Hey, if you guys are getting some great knowledge here, we'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and perhaps consider subscribing, but only if you enjoy this content and would like to see more. This is part of our Talk Wednesday series, where each Wednesday we talk about a hurricane concept and we bring it to you. We don't have a lot of stuff going on the video side. We've designed these so you can listen to them while you're driving to work, or maybe depending on where you work, you might be able to listen to it in the background. If you're in the garage like I am, or if you're cooking, put these things on, let them stream, listen to one, then listen to another. We're trying to impart as much hurricane education to you guys as we can, and we decided we'd try this format, see what you guys think of it. So if you're getting any value out of it, hey, like and subscribe, and definitely share with your circle. All right, number 4, this is a fun one, not planning for the approvals that you would need if you live in a community. So let's say you've got your windows all picked out. You're going to do this and do that, and you're going to have this nice arch in the front, and you're going to have these neat green grids and all this different stuff in the window. You want to make sure that if you live in a condo association or a co-op or in a homeowners association, that you get approval from the board first. And you may have to get approval from multiple boards, because you don't want to buy a product that, even though it's code compliant, it's green, but you can only put yellow windows in this development, and you can't put any grids, and you had all these beautiful grids picked out. You have to be very careful to do your homework and check through all of that. And if you use a quality contractor, they can usually help you with that sort of thing. It shouldn't be a problem depending on your skill level. If you can research all this information, you could consider self-installing these windows. But for most of us, including me, have the contractors do it, have the pros do it. They do it every day. They're up to date on all this stuff, and they will make sure that they come down on you and say, hey, look, you make sure you get your approval here at your HOA or your condo association, because they don't want to have you coming back to them because there's a problem. So you just have to do your homework. Finally, misunderstanding or underestimating sound and comfort needs. If you put a cheaper quality window in, well, let's talk about it this way. We were down in our home back in 2012. We moved in our development, great development, wonderful community. We were there for many years. And the first thing we did was we put impact windows in the house. And when we did impact windows that were insulated. And so they had the 2 layers of laminated glass sandwiched with that polybutylene layer, the polyvinyl butylene. And then we had an argon gas separation, and then we had a neo glass on the outside. So it was an insulated window, cut the noise down by over 50%. Now, we lived really close to the pool, so we could hear water aerobics, we could hear people, we could hear babies screaming, the whole bit. Once we put those impact windows in, it was an unintended consequence for us at the time. It really made a difference in the comfort level in our home. And since we were doing a lot of work from home at the time, it was just nice to have a quieter environment. So if you live near train tracks or near an industrial environment or a busy road, don't cheap out on buying windows. Consider the noise factor, because the noise factor is something that really matters a lot when you're looking at windows and doing that sort of thing. So that's what I have here. Those are the 5 things that you consider when you're looking at windows, things that you want to research, things that you don't want to make mistakes on, because it can cause you a lot of hassle and a lot of money. We hope you've gotten a lot of value out of this. Again, please like and subscribe if you enjoy our content, and we'd love to get any comments or feedback, because your feedback helps us decide what we're going to put out there for you next time. So we'll catch you on another Talk Wednesday video. Take care and be safe. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening.